the countries are trying to take leadership in the field of artificial intelligence. And one of the main thing what has come up in today's world is data is considered as the new oil for economic growth. Okay, if you look 20 years back or 30 years back or 50 years back, the nations which had oil reserves in their countries as resources, they were considered as very productive or very economically advanced countries, because oil is one natural resource. We have to understand it's a resource which cannot be replenished, it cannot be sustained, that in the sense that it is an exhaustible resource. It can get over, it's a limited resource. But data is now what is considered as the biggest oil for today's economic growth. Okay, and why? Because any organization or any country, if they have to obtain leadership, they need to have the right data and the quantity or the corpus of data to make these applications, intelligent applications, work, so that they can be deployed, and the countries or the organization can make biggest advancements which we have not seen in the past 100 years. Okay, I'm going to tell you how is this going to happen. And again, I would like to quote a very small example in terms of the human inventions or the discoveries that have affected the whole human race in today's world. Okay, back in the history, when you look at the first time when the humans invented or the discovered fire, that was a step in the evolution, because our native human beings or our ancestors, when they were in the forest, when they didn't have fire, they were eating raw food. So their whole development of their face or their jaws was taking center stage, because they were spending more energy and effort to uh, chew the food, the raw food, because they didn't have fire back then. So the development of the jaws restricted the development of their brain, which itself did not contribute to much of the cognitive capabilities of our ancestors. Okay, gradually we invented fire, so we started our ancestors started using less of muscle power to chew our food. So what happened? They spent their time, less time, um, uh, using the food to chew. So they started to have food which is cooked on fire. So they started to burn the energy much more faster. They were able to hunt. He became a hunter gatherer. So he went on to make more inventions and discoveries down the line. He invented the wheel, which helped him to move from one place to the other, move goods from one place to the other in a faster pace. So he started settling down in places. He started domesticating animals. So all this happened, and he invented writing. He invented paper, which helped him to gather or store information for his next generation. He started writing on the caves. Languages started. He learned how to speak. Communication started. Then we invented books or the printing press. So there are waves of revolutions which happen. And then the first wave of revolution is called as the agricultural revolution, where humans learned how to do agriculture. So that was the first wave of revolution, where humans became starting to understand. They started to grow these fields, the grain, so that they can get food, keep a track of their resources in terms of agriculture. So after the agricultural revolution, then came the industrial revolution, where it was kicked in because of the invention of machines, combustible engines. Then came electricity. So there, so all these waves. The reason I'm talking about all these revolutions is, if you plot all these inventions the agricultural revolution, the industrial revolution, followed by the information revolution, which is the third wave of evolution. All these inventions took lot of time period from going from one revolution to the other. But the recent revolution from moving from let's take an example. After the industrial revolution, we started using telephone to communicate. So we got landlines, and from, if you see the time taken from adaptation of landlines to cellular phones, it took about 2 to 3 decades approximately. And then the next switch from cell phones to smartphones, when Apple started introducing its first iPhone way back in 2007. Okay, the adoption took from cell phones to smartphones less than a decade, I would say, or a matter of 5 to 6 years. And now the revolution from smartphone to artificially enabled phones is happening. So it took around 3 to 5 years or less than that. So if you look at all these inventions, as we move from one industrial revolution to the other, the amount of time taken to go to the next revolution started coming or getting down, decreased. And the reason why it's happening is because when technology advances, it advances exponentially. So if you take as example of today's smartphone, we use Uber today or any smart app to get our rides, move from one place to the other. Uber couldn't have thought of being in picture 10 years down the line, because we simply did not have the technology to run those applications where you can track the devices, make us know where the person is waiting for your Uber cab or any other ride sharing facility, and make sure that all this can be conceptualized and commercialized. But today it's as simple as you just pick up your phone, you just point where you want to go, and the ride arrives at your place in the matter of minutes, less than 5 minutes sometimes. Okay, it's as simple. So coming back to our discussion, what I want students to keenly understand is, if you plot all these advancements on the x-axis, and then on the y-axis, if you put it as the x-axis would be the evolution with the time, and the y-axis would be the influence it made to our lives. So the graph will come as a line which is horizontal to the x-axis. So the graph will be very parallel, unless when we talk about the uh, invention or the revolution of artificial intelligence and how it's going to impact our life, the graph will try to take a very steep upward y-axis move. And what it tells, what we need to understand about this graph is that artificial intelligence is a general purpose technology. That is, general purpose technology is like one which is like electricity. When we had electricity, when we invented electricity, it brought about a boom in so many other ways, because we started using it. Not only we started using electricity in our industries, we had electric bulbs, we had all these appliances, daily use appliances, which we use even today. It could be a fan, it could be your AC, it could be your charger, it could be your generator, or it could be your television, it could be your computer. Everything needs electricity, right? Can you imagine your life without electricity? No, you can't. And the similar way, the impact is going to be such a huge in the next 2 to 5 years on artificial intelligence is, if you don't have the power to upskill yourself, you will not be able to sustain, you will be left behind. So that is why I'm taking this time to explain you guys that artificial intelligence is going to impact our life. You, whether you consider it or not, whether you want it or not, it is going to have a huge impact on artificial intelligence. And that is why it's very important for each and everyone to invest the time to understand where should I focus in upskilling myself so that I am not left behind. And I congratulate and I'm really thankful to all the audience for taking this time, for investing this time today in this discussion or webinar to understand the implication so that you can plan your not only your professional life, but you can plan your career based on the informed decisions you want to make. Okay, so we understood about the impact, the human evolution, the different evolutions of human beings, the agricultural revolution, the industrial revolution, the information revolution, and the artificial intelligence, which is taking us to different heights. So having said weak AI, it's very important to understand the other part of AI, which we are not yet reached. When we talk about strong AI, it you can talk about those concepts which become super intelligent. Okay, all the technocrats or the leaders in technology industry are trying to predict how early or how soon can we be able to achieve this strong AI. And I'll give you some examples here. So first, let us understand what is strong AI. Strong AI is a type of form of artificial intelligence which is perceived to have cognitive abilities. So cognitive abilities is something like it can learn, it is conscious. Okay, just as we human beings, we can foresee in the near future or in the distant future, no one knows when, that computers will be able to understand and think like human beings in the near future. So in contrast to the previous section, what we talked about weak AI, which was an artificial intelligence model designed to answer a very specific use case or a problem. Compared to that, strong AI can be imagined to be a robot or a computer which can answer you all kinds of questions. Are we there yet? No, we are not. How soon we can be there? We don't know. But if you go through the internet, you will understand that Meta, which was formerly Facebook, is already working on getting to this point as soon as possible. Meta has invested close to $10 billion US dollars or more in infrastructure and resources to ensure that they will be the pioneers in or the first company to reach the artificial general intelligence. Okay, so that's an example of how humans are very inquisitive to achieve the next goal in artificial intelligence. But there is a lot of effort, a lot of things yet to be done, but this is what the next challenge is going to be. We are just um, today we are just in the beginning stages of artificial intelligence. And sorry, I'm skipping my slides here. Today we are in a phase where we are starting to see the tips or the tip of the iceberg of weak AI. So when we talk about Chat GPT, or when you talk about Bard, or when you talk about Microsoft Copilot, these are all the beginning or the tip of the iceberg. So when you look at the tip of the iceberg, it shows up as a very small component. But when you go under the water, there is a huge component of it which is still not explored. So we are still way behind, but we are already seeing so much of influence that artificial intelligence is having on each one of our lives. I'd like to pause here, just do a time check. Shweta, are we good with the time? Can I go to the next slide? Do we have any
Yes,
questions?
sir.
And then,
Absolutely. We can go to
yeah,
the
we are good with the time.
Yes, yes, we are.
Okay. So next, I would like to touch upon the applications of artificial intelligence. And before we dive into healthcare, I just wanted to go a few other domains as well and come back to healthcare. So finance, we saw a huge impact because any of us can dare to walk out of our house today without a wallet, without money. But can we imagine going out of our stepping out of our house without our smartphones? Sometimes it's going to be a challenge. Okay, you can step out of your house without your wallet, but you cannot step out of your house without your phone. The reason being why I'm emphasizing here is that we have become so dependent on technology that without the first thing we when we get up is you look at your phone. The last thing you do before you sleep is look at your phone. You set your alarm on phone. So the watches have disappeared. Everything can be done on your phone. And the reason why artificial intelligence is making such a huge impact is these smartphones are getting smarter and smarter. They are getting faster and faster, and they are becoming very affordable. Okay, but I'm going to stop here and tell, whenever we saw technology advancing, there are definitely the benefits, but also there are downsides as well. So when we talk about any new technology, first you have to understand the positives and also the negatives. How responsibly can we use these applications in our daily life? Okay, coming to the next thing, transportation. Again, I briefly touched upon the autonomous driving vehicles in the first slide when we were talking about artificial intelligence as an overview. But again, we have to consider there are a lot of ethical implications of autonomous driving. And I'm going to quote a very small example here about transportation. And when I say transportation, I'm exclusively talking about artificial intelligence used in driverless cars. There are a lot of ethical and the good things and the bad things about these applications as well. Okay, if you have seen YouTube videos, you might have seen a lot of these the car owners who are having these autonomous driving vehicles, so as claimed by the company, that they are now more distracted than ever when they are on the highways or when they are roads, because they are fully uh, allowing their cars to make all the decisions. However, they are failing that these companies are saying that you should be ready to take over these autonomous vehicles when there is a situation where the vehicle can't make a decision. Okay, we have seen so many fatalities with these so-called autonomous driving vehicles, but we have not reached yet there, because artificial intelligence involved, the algorithms involved in autonomous vehicles are highly complicated. Because they say, people who are the scientists who are working on this algorithm, they say that the models or the artificial intelligence algorithms used to train a moving vehicle in the air is much more easier to tackle than a moving vehicle on road. Why? Because we have more kinds of possibilities that can happen when a car is driving on a simple roadway near your house at an intersection. Okay, when you are at an intersection, the autonomous vehicle has to make lot of quick decisions based on the inputs it is getting. Okay, again, very briefly about autonomous driving vehicles. How do these vehicles are programmed? These vehicles are having algorithms, which are, when I say algorithms, you can simply imagine a set of instructions which are used to train a vehicle. So the main concept is it's getting an input, it is processing the input, and it's providing an output where where it has to make a decision. An input could be simply as, okay, I'm in a car and it's moving and it approaches an intersection. It is seeing a red light, but it also knows, it should also take identify that there is a red light, and it should understand that I am seeing a red light. I need to pause here. So it has to take that information, process that, and have an output that it has to stop at a particular mark because it's seeing red light. This is a very simple example. But they imagine the same use case. The traffic lights turns green, but there are still pedestrians who are walking down the zebra crossings. There could be a vehicle. It could be a vehicle which is still passing. They did not see their traffic light. They're still passing. Or it could be a pedestrian who is just looking at his mobile or listening to music, and he's still crossing the road when he's not crossing. There is a dog which is crossing. So the vehicle has to understand that although the traffic signal is green, I still have people moving. I still have to stop because I can't just move because the traffic light is green. Okay, so just this simple example to the next second example what I gave requires a lot of compute power, lot of fast 5G kind of an internet to process and arrive to provide the output to these sensors which are all over the cars. It could be cameras, it could be sensors for motion detection, and also to ensure to position, to understand the vehicle, the spatial orientation, where is the car standing right now, so that it can make a decision from moving from A to B. For it to understand, to move from a position A to B, it should have a spatial orientation of first of all where it is standing on the road. So all these requires multiple sets of data, multiple algorithms to make it navigate through the roads, and it is extremely complicated. So applications are